Welcome back to your second session, the July 14, 2020, right? And this second session, you are going to study the blueprint 6, okay? So, have you learned something from the first video of this Tuesday one? Okay, so now teacher would like you to review some vocabulary that you have learned yesterday, everyone, about the international cooperation, right? Okay. So the first word you have learned about the poverty, right? Poverty means the state of being extremely poor. And the next one you have learned about the climate, the weather condition prevailing in an area in general or over a large period, right? Okay, so the next one you learn about the greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gas means the gas that contribute to the greenhouse effect, okay, and so on, and can create like the carbon dioxide, okay, and we call like chlorofluorocarbon, or example of greenhouse gas, meaning that the air or any type of pollution that pollute to the air, okay. And the next one you have learned like the word cooperate, right? Cooperate verb, cooperation noun, meaning that work jointly toward the same aim. Next, about exploration, the action of exploring an unfamiliar area, or the action of searching an area for natural resources. Okay, and the next one about the trade, the action of buying and selling goods and service. Okay, teacher would like you to see this. Okay, so this is about the three talk that we have been discussing so far. Okay, that the first of all we gonna talk about the climate change, and the second talk will be about the space, and the last one about the poverty, right? So in the term of collaboration or international collaboration with the climate change, so what should most of the country do in order to make it more improved, or about the disaster, to prevent the disaster in the future? Through the text you will hear about what will happen in next like 2100, and what will the climate will be changed, and what should people do or other country do in order to prevent those predicting the climate change in the future. So everyone just pay attention to the tracks and listen carefully, everyone. Are you ready? Let's start.
Track 13. 1.
For me, the most important work that countries can do together is on climate change. In 2015, almost every country in the world signed the Paris Climate Accord on reducing greenhouse gases. If we don't all reduce our use of fossil fuels, by the year 2100, the climate will have warmed by 3 degrees Celsius, or possibly even more. This could mean a rise in sea levels and the melting of ice at the poles. That would be a disaster. The Paris Agreement is an attempt to prevent all that. It also says that rich countries should send lots of money to poor countries because switching to clean energy is expensive. I don't know if this agreement will work, but at least it's a start.
Okay, so the first they just mentioned about the agreement in Paris about the climate change on reducing greenhouse gas. Mean if we don't all reduce our use of fossil fuel by the year 2100, the climate will be warm by 3 degrees Celsius, or possibly even more. And another warning about this could mean the rise of sea level and the melting of ice at the poles. So when the sea level is increasingly, and the ice also melt. So what happened to the world? So this is about the concerning in the first paragraph. They make a, like agreement with in Paris. About this climate change, and we call can be like the global warming and global concerning. So this is part of the cooperation or international cooperation. So in the next talk you will hear about the space. So what are the speaker mentioned about. So just pay attention to this track together, everyone.
It would be great if countries cooperated more on space exploration. The ISS, the International Space Station, is a joint project between 5 different governments. It involves the US, Russia, the EU, Japan, and Canada. So it's very complex politically, but it's been a huge success. The ISS has been going since 1998. It's taught us a lot about our solar system and about how humans can survive in space. We should be able to do even bigger things if we keep working together. Maybe by the 2020s, we'll have built a station on the moon, or even on Mars.
Okay, so in the second talk, it would be great if the countries cooperated more on space explorations. So nowadays they mention about the ISS, mean the International Space Station. They have the project with 5 different countries, okay, involved like US, okay, Russia, the EU, Japan, and Canada, right? And so it's very complex politically. Mean they do to explore in the universe. So the ISIS has been going since 1998, right? And it taught us a lot about our solar system and about how human can survive in space. Then we could able to do even bigger things if we keep working together. Maybe in the 2020 we'll have to build a station on Moon or even on Mars. So the cooperation between the 5 countries, they do the project to explore, okay, or to survive the life in the space, not only in our Earth that the human or the animal can be live, but also the other planet as well. That they mention here just about the space station on the moon or even on Mars. So this is the first talk that you have heard so far. So now teacher would like you to hear the last talk what the speaker mentioned. So are you ready, everyone? Please start.
3.
Countries must cooperate more to end hunger. In the last 20 years, thanks to economic growth, there's been a dramatic reduction in extreme poverty. This is fantastic news, but there's still more work to do. Worldwide, 1 in every 9 people still goes to bed hungry. If we worked harder, we could make even more progress. We could promote free and fair trade, which would lead to economic growth. We could also develop new types of food crops that could survive disease and insects. Cooperation among countries is very important for this effort.
Okay, so the last talk, they have mentioned about the importance of doing good collaboration is bringing a good effort to the worldwide, okay. And one more thing, they also focusing on like the countries or to reduce in extremely poverty, meaning that they just doing like free and fair trade that you see in this slide. Like we could promote free and fair trade, and which would lead to economic growth Okay, we also develop new types of food that could survive disease and insects. So what do you understand from this talk, everyone? So to measure your understanding, teacher would like you to have a really short assessment. So you just go to part C, okay? So make the statement that correct to the speaker. So the speaker number 1, number 2, and number 3, right? Okay, so are you ready, everyone? Okay, so A, like we have been able to learn a lot from the ISS. So the statement for to number 1, number 2, or number 3. Okay, for to number 2, ISS, right? Because up here, the talk number 2, you know, they mentioned about the space exploration, and they cooperate with 5 different countries. Okay. B, wealthy country need to give money to poor countries. So what this statement best fit to the talk? 1, 2, or 3? Teacher would like to remind again everyone. For the first talk, they mentioned about the climate change. The number 2, they talk about the space exploration, and the last one, they talk about the poverty. Okay, so the right answer is number 1. Wealthy country need to give money to poor country. Okay, so let us see. You will see experiment which new crop could be helpful. Okay, about the speaker number 3. What about D? An international agreement has been reached which may prevent disaster. Okay, text number 1. What about E? World poverty has been greatly reduced in recent years. So what is the answer, everyone? Letter, the script number 3. Okay, what about the last one? F, cooperation in this area has been working well since 1998. Okay, the answer is number 2. So everyone, so now it comes to the end of your lesson today, and see you again tomorrow